today I am doing my top 5 wide receivers. That's right, we're talking top 5 wide receivers of the 2014-2015 season. Let's get it. So first of all, let me start off with a disclaimer to all of the Cleveland Brown fans out there. Let me just say that if I was making a top 5 list and Josh Gordon did not have a year-long suspension hanging over his head, then he would definitely be in my top 5. But as we sit right now, as of July the 25th of 2014, we don't know if he's going to have that suspension. So that's the time that I'm making my list. So I'm not going to put him on my list and not know if he's going to even play at all. He's facing a year-long suspension. It could be a year. It could not be. But as of right now, I'm going with what I know, and what I know is the players that are on this list as we speak. So let's start off with my number 5 receiver. The number 5 receiver is from the Houston Texans. It's going to be my man, Andre Johnson. He's slowing down a little bit, but it's not enough to drop him out of the top 5. I still think that he is a dynamic playmaker, has great hands, runs great routes. He's a great receiver. He's big, he's strong. He's not a guy you can push around at the line of scrimmage, and that's why Andre Johnson is my number 5 wide receiver. Numero 4. Number 4. My number 4 receiver on this list is the Chicago Bear wide receiver. Another big, strong, physical at the line of scrimmage. A receiver who can go up, catch the ball at the highest point. Has big hands, great hands. And now he's got another kid in Alshon Jeffrey on the other side that's going to make him even harder to double team. And I'm talking about Brandon Marshall. Another one of those receivers that's getting great production. Even as he's through his prime, what is he, 31, 32 now? I still feel like he has another 3 to 4, maybe even 5 good seasons, seeing that he has a bunch of young kids coming in there along with Matt Forte out of the backfield. That's why Brandon Marshall is my number 4 wide receiver. Number 3. My number 3 wide receiver is a beast. I've liked him ever since he came out of the SEC, ever since he came out of Georgia. He has been a fantastic receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals, along with Andy Dalton, even though Andy Dalton can't win a playoff game to save his life. Of course, I am talking about Mr. A.J. Green. That's right, A.J. Green is my number 3 wide receiver. A.J. Green, number 3. Number 2. My number 2 receiver on my top 5 plays for the Dallas Cowboys. You should already know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the freak. I'm talking about Dez Bryant. I'm talking about a beast. And this is really hard for me because I feel like my number 1 and my number 2 are kind of interchangeable because they both do great things. They're both very, very good receivers. But I feel like I could have put Dez at 1 and put my 1 guy at 2, and nobody should have a problem with it because they're both very good receivers. And the number 1 receiver, that's right, the number 1 receiver for me, Megatron. I mean, what can I say about Megatron? 6'5", runs a 4.3 40, has an incredible vertical leap. He's a great receiver down the field. The only thing that I don't like about Megatron is that I don't like him as a route runner. I don't. And I don't like him catching the ball in the open field and just creating. I like him on the bomb. I like him going and getting 6. I like him down around the red zone area. I don't like him in the middle of the field. I don't like him creating separation, catching the ball, and running like Dez Bryant. That's why I say Dez Bryant could be number one, because Dez Bryant is a better open field runner than Calvin Johnson. But Calvin Johnson is my number one guy. Alright, so that is my top 5. I know there's a bunch of people who are going to throw a bunch of names out there. A few guys that I didn't have on this top 5 that will definitely make my honorable mention. Guys like Antonio Brown, T.Y. Hilton. Who knows what Julio Jones is going to do after he comes back from this injury. He'd be another guy that will be able to crack that top 5, depending. You know, it's hard. There's so many great receivers. Mike Wallace, what is he going to do this year? How does Sammy Watkins fit into all of this? But these are my top 5. I left Larry Fitzgerald out. There's a bunch of guys. Anquan Bolden, well, he's not really a top 5. But anyway, you get my drift. There's a lot of guys that could have fit in this top 5. So it's really hard on me to pick a top 5, but I'm going with these guys. This is my top 5. Let the conversation begin.